Hello, welcome back to my channel, Appealing Book Reviews. Today we will be reviewing the book Wonders of the Weather. Wonders of the Weather is dealing with thunder, fog, rain, wind, thunderstorms, air floods, frost, hurricanes, snow, rainbows, lightning, sleet, ice, blizzards, air, and thunderstorms, and wind and frost. That's what the book is dealing with. This book is by Francis Natkins, and it's also available on Amazon for you guys to check it out, and I will leave it in the description. But right now we will go ahead and review this book, Wonders of the Weather. I will go ahead and go over key points of Wonders of the Weather. What is the weather? Next time you go outside, look and imagine that you can imagine that you are standing at the bottom of a deep sea of air and what is going on up there. Think about the weather means. Think about the earth, air, how hot, how cold, how wet, or how dry or windy it feels. Knowing the weather forecast mean the difference between life and death. If a blizzard is blinding and a snowfall, hurricanes, relentless downpouring of tornadoes, and terrifying blasts headed your way. So it's giving information on what is the weather, about knowing what's going on with the weather. Most of the time, we pay no attention to the weather outside, but we decide what clothes to wear and what to put on for the daily activities. We realize how much the weather affects all of us in almost every aspect of our lives. By preparing, it is important about the weather. Studies show that the human body is affected by the weather through headaches, aching of the joints. For instance, it can be a sign of approaching storm, and aches and pains are often occur with the weather changing, such as temperature suddenly drop in the air and it gets heavy and damp. And I know that to be true because I had a family member. She used to tell me like she know when it's getting ready to rain because of she would have like aches and different things of that nature. And this was like years ago, and she would tell me that she knows when it's about to rain because she would feel like aches and different things of that nature. So I know that to be true about what they just said. Does the weather affect your mood? Apparently so. In a survey conducted by the TV weather station recently, more than 7 out of 10 people said that the weather directly affects how they feel physically and mentally. And that is true too. That's so very true. Because you can have something planned, say you don't even pay it the weather no attention, and you just plan something, and then the weather changes everything. So that is very true. What is climate? The weather is a short-term condition. In most places, it changes the climate from day to day and week to week and season. The climate, however, is a long-term condition. Kind of weather of regions have over many years, including average temperature, long-term total of rainfall, sunshine, and winds condition. Most people live in temperature climates where the summers are warm, the winters are cold, and the rainfalls on a regular pattern. Humans can survive in almost any climate as long as they know what to expect and build homes and wear clothes best suit to the conditions. Rainforests, deserts have different climates, even though both are usually hot year-round. Rainforests, lush plants growth holds moisture in soil and it puts it back into the air. Any rain desert gets its soaked by the dry soil of evaporating evaporates in the hot air before it hits the ground. Animal plants that have adapted to their own inhabited climate usually thrive. Now, I would just like to take the time to show some beautiful pictures that's inside of this book, Wonders of the Weather. And this is the one of the pictures that I wanted to show you guys. And this is a second picture that I just wanted to show you guys too from inside of the book, Wonders of the Weather. Now we will talk a little about the sun and the earth. And we're just going to go over some key points about the sun because we're on the sun. We usually think of the weather as what it is going on outside our own door. The main reason why we have weather throughout is nearly 93 million miles away, the sun, and it plays a key part in every type of weather on the earth. The sun is as closest to the moon and on the earth as 92,980 miles away from us, and the sun radiance distance in the center of the surface it is. The sun is the main reason Earth has weather. The sun heats the earth, the ocean, the land, which is warm in the air. This heating is uneven, however, and this is what keeps the earth and the air moving. And you can see the same kind of motion in a pot of water as it starts to boil. Warmer waters rise, cooler water sinks, and making it swirl in current events. And the earth-air currents put motion in the same way. Rule to remember: heat, rise, cold, sinks. And here is some picture notes of dealing with the sun, the summer, winter, the sun, the winter, and the summer. And this is just a picture of showing the earth and the sun, the water, the air, and everything. Something for you to look at for notes on the sun. And here's a quick picture of the five layers of blanket, earth blanket air that is surrounded by the blanket of air. These are the 5 layers that they were talking about in the book. Now we will talk a little about the wind. The wind on the move, a large scale winds, small scale winds, measuring the speed and the direction and putting the wind to work. And talk about the storms, how the storm, the thunderstorms, the lightning, the thunder, the tornadoes, the hurricane, and the blizzards. And another thing is the clouds and the rain, how the clouds are formed, and what the cloud tells us in the fall, the water cycle, rain, rainbows, seasonal rain, the rain environment, and the dew and the frost, the flood and the droughts and the flash floods and the droughts, and the snow and the ice. Tomorrow weather will fit in, and Tuesday's weather. So we kind of at where the sun is, but now we're going to move into the wind. Now we're back talking about the weather and the sun. We're going to talk a little about that. For instance, an erupting volcano that can pump huge amount of ash and dust into the atmosphere, forming a vast cloud, can circle the planet and block the sun rays. The dark red stripes of the Southern America West Coast shows the location, and it has a picture here of everything. Okay, this is the picture that I was talking about. The dark red stripe off South America West Coast that shows the location of it. Okay, now we're going back to the air on the move in the wind. The wind is a movement of air from the regions to another earth that has winds that are fast, slow, hot, cold, and wet, and dry, and low. It all starts the same way, and this is an uneven heating of the earth's surface that causes the difference when the air is warm and nearby. Land, water spreads and trends to rise and putting less lower pressure on the earth's surface and cool air, which is more dense and fall into the fall and putting more higher pressure on the earth's surface. And even in centuries, powerful winds and huge sandstones and formation Ashes National Park in Utah into a surprisingly shape. And wind always moves from high pressure area where it's cool air and sinking into a lower pressure area where it's warm and rising. The weather map shows location in both types of area. It is from high to low, given the lines called front form and boundaries, which of different air mass. Did you know that some experts say that the wind can affect how people behave, even cause mental illness? So I thought that was important. It causes mental illness. It could cause mental illness. In Italy, some people commit crimes and have blamed them about the winds, how strong the winds are, the rise off the desert in the North African, northern Italy. Now we will talk about the large scale winds. Large scale winds are high and current, high and blow over a vast distance, about 30,000 to 35,000 feet above the earth, are large rivers of cold air that moves from the poles and clashes warmer air mass from typical, creating huge steam of wind that cause a jet stream, and jet stream earth fastest large scale winds. There are narrow lines and clouds that show the path of high speed jet stream crossing Canada, Cape, and Benton Island. Large-scale winds often follow regular patterns. As the 15th century sailor knew, the cross of the Atlantic formed Europe settlers headed south into a typical water tropical until their sails caught steady trade of the winds, which pushes them across the Caribbean island to return to sail up the coast of North America to reach the winds and push their back to Europe. Now we will talk about the Q&A question. Why is often a cool breeze coming off the water at the beach or a hot day? The land absorbs the sun and heat faster than the water does. As warm air rises off the land, cooler the air flows in off the water replace it. This follow is called the sea breeze in small scale, which is one that blows over small areas. Measuring speed and direction, dealing with the wind. The sailor probably first come to the ways of measure the wind speed, the direction of the wind speed. Their lives depending on being able to read the wind and the weather. Okay, this is just a picture that I wanted to show you guys of the scales of different things where you can look at dealing with the wind and measuring the directions of everything. We have a quick, before I take this picture off, we have of the scale, we have a quick Q&A. How fast can the earth wind blow? A tornado that hit central Oklahoma on May 3rd, 1999, had the fastest wind speed ever measured on Earth. It was at 318 miles per hour. So that was the question and the answer. The answer again was a tornado that hit central Oklahoma on May 3rd, 1999, that had the fastest wind speed ever measured on Earth was 318 miles per hour. And that was the question and the answer. With putting winds to work, once we are able to measure the wind speed in the directions, we can put it to work. Since the ancient times, people have been coming up with new and better ways just to do it. Now it's talking about a hot air balloon. Must know that when you're dealing with the hot air balloon, you must know the wind, the speed, and the direction which to try to predict how the weather will change during the flight, and hoping a new record of flying non-stop around the world. Balloonists fly high enough to use a jet steams. And I just thought this would be interesting to talk about this hot air balloon, because this is on one of my lists that I always wanted to ride in a hot air balloon. That's something that I want to accomplish, one of my goals that I want to accomplish and do. So let me just a minute. Okay, here's a picture of the hot air balloons that I have wanted to show you, that is in the book, and some notes on everything that I just talked about in the book that I just kind of like reviewed over, like some key points of the hot air balloon. I just wanted to show you guys the pictures inside of the book, how beautiful they are. Okay, now we will talk about why we have storms and large air masses are constantly forming over the land of water, some cold, some warm, some wet, some dry. It depends depending on the surface below and upper layer winds that push the air mass away from where they were formed, which happens when the air mass are very different in temperature and air pressure meets, and often we get storms. So this is just talking about why we have the storms. Beyond this huge storm clouds, we can see the skies that are downward, that strikes in a distance, and falling rain. And it has a beautiful picture of what they're talking about. Now, the line where the two air masses meet is called the front. The term corn. Did you know there is an old saying, a cows lay down before the storm? Often they know perhaps the falling air pressure affects their digestive system, so they stop grazing, and perhaps they lay down to keep their underparts dry. The cows lying down is not reliable weather predictor. However, as there are many that lie down, others unknown for unknown reasons. And it has a picture of the cows in the book. Now we're talking about the thunderstorms. The earth has thunderstorms that are any other kind of storms, about 40,000 crackling zap around the world each day. Thunderstorms cover a small area, about 5 to 10 miles wide. They may or may not be a part of the weather front. And it has a picture of what they're talking about. Number one, warm, wet air that rises from the ground and upward flowing air. The air moves right enough to cool, form clouds, which continues to rise as high as 40,000 feet. Water droplets in the clouds freezing into large ice crystals from large, heavier drops that falls back through the clouds, creating a powerful downdraft and downward blowing air. The storms break out. A heavy rain, thundering, lightning occurs. That the more powerful downdraft are more violent in storms. After about an hour, the rain tapers off and the storm disappears. If all right conditions occur at the same places at the same time, as a rainstorm can occur anywhere and even over a desert. Heavy rain, heavy clouds, signs approaching thunderstorms with darkened skies in midday. Thunderstorms happen most often in the spring and the summer. This is because they cannot develop, which is out in unstable air that causes by warm air rising into the cold air above, conditions that occurs more often during those seasons. Lightning and thundering. Benjamin Franklin, it has a picture of Benjamin Franklin below. It's proven that in 1752, the experiment of him flew a kite into the thunderstorm, which is lightning struck the kite and the sparks and flew from the metal key and tried an ending. Franklin was lucky, besides making a great discovery, as he survived what could have been a fatal lightning strike. And it has a picture of Benjamin Franklin at the bottom of the page. I guess I'm going to show you guys a picture, but they're saying a picture of him with the little kite, but it wasn't fatal. So he was probably doing like a experiment on lightning and thundering. So let me guys hold just one. Okay, here's a picture of what I was talking about, of Benjamin Franklin with the kite experience that he was doing in the thunderstorm. So this is just a picture. I just want you guys to see the picture of what I was talking about. Now I will talk a little bit more about number one, inside a storm cloud, updrafts, downdrafts blow water droplets and ice crystals back and forth against each other. This friction causes electricity that changes and build up stumbling. Things that happens which rub. Now we have a Q&A. The Q&A is how hot does lightning get? Up to 54,029.82 C, more than 5 times hotter than as the sun's surface, moving and supersonic speeding. Lightning makes an expand contact to heat and cold very quickly. This makes a sound waves where we hear as the thunder. So the question was again is how hot does the lightning get? Up to 54,029.982 C, more than 5 times hotter as the sun's surface, moving and supersonic speed. Lightning makes the air expand and contact, heat and cool very quickly. This makes sound waves that we hear in thunder. Okay, now I thought I could go as far as I could with this book. I was going to try to But I'm going to stop it right here, and then I will come back with another parts to the book because I want to make sure I give key points to everything about the wonders of the weather. But I will stop it right here, and this will be part 1 of Wonders of the Weather. Then I will be back with a part 2. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Have a good day.